Good evening. Welcome to Focus on Framingham. This is show number 7. This is first show we've done in a little while here. I'm your host, Mike Cunningham, and you can email me if you have any questions about the show at mike@focusonframingham.tv. We've got a lot to cover today, and so let's get started here. First story. I just came today from Access Framingham, and they were having a farewell party for Francesca Harris, who has been there for 20 years. She started back, I think, when it was Cablevision or AT&T Broadband. It was before I even lived here in Framingham. Then it changed to Comcast. She was at the studio on 14 Burr Street until it moved to Fuller Middle School, and then a few years ago it moved to the 4 Vernon Street location where Access Framingham is now. And I wanted to update the bug. I will do that at the first break that we have. But this is show number 7. I have a photo here of Francesca and I from earlier today. So, she was an integral part of the, I look a little squished here. But she was, an integral part of public access here in Framingham. So it'll be sad to see her go, but I'm sure she'll still stay involved and do some volunteering here and there. There's really no escape from public access, and she's moving on to a position at Framingham State University. So maybe you'll run into her there. Next story was one that was covered by Framingham Source, but I actually had a little more of an inside scoop on it because one of my kids is on the town or the city Framingham Frogs swim team, where there was an incident that I call ToiletGate because, you guessed it, it involves a broken toilet. This happened, I believe, on Tuesday this week, which would have been, trying to pull up a calendar here, and it won't open up. Today's the 20th, like the 26th, I'd say. So they sent out an email. Hello, parents. Yesterday there was some sort of incident in the boys' locker room that resulted in a broken toilet. See the attached photo. Keith Tech believes it happened during our practice time, and therefore we are responsible. Because of this, we might lose our ability to practice at Keith Tech starting immediately. We're trying to find out more about this restriction as soon as possible. Please ask your children if they saw the broken toilet and at what point. Please let us know if it was broken prior to practice or after practice. If your child noticed any activities that might have resulted in it, please let us know. All communication will be kept confidential. Obviously, we do not want to lose our great practice pool and the ability to hold meets in such a great facility. So any help will be appreciated. Now, looking at that, I don't see how, these are kids that are like ages 6 to 17. It would be kind of tough to just pull that off. It's almost like maybe there was some damage to it and it just finally went when somebody slammed the lid down or something. I don't think there's really any proof that it happened, and I don't know why they resulted in banning the team, the undefeated team from last year, from using the pool altogether. Now, they have since allowed them to do their time trials Wednesday night, and I think there's practice tonight on Thursday the 28th. But, this kind of gave the start to the season a little bit of a rocky start, so hopefully that gets resolved or we find out more information. Here's another story that we covered a few weeks ago on one of my first or second episodes. This has to do with a state bill, a Senate bill, that was to try to require cable operators to provide public access signals in high definition and with program guide information. Both are really important. You can debate whether or not the guide or the signal is more important, but nonetheless, it actually passed today in the Senate. It moves on to the House. Mass Access wrote a post about this on their Facebook page. This was Senate Bill 2577, an act to support community access television. This was sponsored by Senator John Keenan. The bill provides local cable channels the ability to broadcast in high definition, have individual shows and offerings listed on program guides, and it was supported by Mass Access. And this is the closest really to having something like this in the country, and we would be the first state in the country that would pass something like this. So we're going to hope that it passes in the House, I think, next week. Please call your state rep and try to encourage them to vote for this next week. Let's see. Saxonville put up new signs. I think we got a picture of one. This is one that I took. That's why it's kind of crappy, because I was driving by. But I think like 3 or 4 of these signs went up in and around the center of Saxonville. This one is going on Central Street towards the mills, and let's see. They put up like maybe 3 or 4 of these. I couldn't find any information online. I didn't look extensively, but I couldn't find any information on what the story was behind them. So hopefully, I think they're really trying to revitalize the whole Saxonville Mills area in and around there. In fact, our next story here is about the new Saxonville Cafe. It's the Saxonville Cafe and Roastery, which just opened. This is a story from the Metro West Daily News. Framingham, after leaving his home in the foothills of the Andes Mountains, Christian Barrigan made coffee his business. Barrigan launched a coffee importation company 5 years ago, bringing coffee beans from the small farms around his childhood home in Colombia to the United States. Working from a space inside the Saxonville Mills, Brannigan saw his new business, Andean Distributors, into an established coffee wholesaler shipping green coffee beans to locations around Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Oh, so that's interesting. So he's been there for a little while. 36-year-old is now preparing to expand his business later this month with the opening of Saxonville Mills Cafe and Roastery, located inside the old mill complex along Central and Concord Street. The cafe will offer patrons a taste of single origin Colombian coffee shipped direct from small farms around Barrigan's native home. That's really neat. So you can go check it out. It's open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. I myself am going to try to go up there and take a look and give it a try, and I'll let you know what I think. Let's see. Next story. Meanwhile, in Fall River, co-host of mine years ago lives in Fall River now, so I get these wonderful stories of things that happen down there, but they're fun to mention up here. This guy, what did he do? Fall River police, and this is from the Herald News, police arrested a Fall River man who was accused of using a baseball bat and a BB gun to assault another man who struck his vehicle this past weekend at the corner of I can't even pronounce that, in Frenner Street. Anthony Diaz, 21, was charged with disturbing the peace while armed, 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, assault and battery, and a fray. What's that? Oh. Around 6:30 p.m. Saturday, police responded to reports of a motor vehicle accident followed by a fight. Witnesses told Fall River police officers that after the crash, the driver of the vehicle was struck, said to be Diaz, got out of his car, approached the other driver who was seated in his car and punched him, Fall River Police Detective John Robinson said. So anyways, probably one of the better mugshots I've seen in a while. On a scale of 1 to Nick Nolte, I'd say that's like at least a 7. So, and we have some more mugshots coming up in the show here. So let's move on. In Hyde Park, I don't have a photo that goes with this. Goat head and photo of woman left on a Hyde Park woman's car. This is from the Boston Herald. Hyde Park woman made a spooky discovery this morning. This is back on May 29th. When she found a severed goat's head on the hood of her car next to a picture of her. The woman had walked out of her Garfield Street home to walk her dog around 6 a.m. when she saw the grisly sight, according to Boston police. When she looked closer, she found a picture of herself tucked under the windshield wipers. The woman jumped in the car and drove at least half a mile to the Hyde Park police station with the decapitated goat head still on the hood, cops said. So bonus points for making quite the police discovery there by just driving it right to them. Yeah, they can come to you if you call them, so it's not totally necessary to drive the car. But that's what she decided to do. So let's see. Back to Framingham. Another new restaurant in downtown Framingham. It's the Merengue restaurant. It's a new Framingham Eatery, offers Dominican cuisine, and I do have a photo from their Facebook page. I can pull that up here real quick. That's from their Facebook page, but I'll just read a little bit about the restaurant here. Let's see. Street food. This is from the Metro West Daily News. Street food and delicacies from the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico are available in a new downtown location. Merengue Restaurant at 130 Kendall Street opened its doors earlier this month. Tucked behind a convenience store at the intersection of Kendall Street and Frederick Street, the 20-seat restaurant is housed in a bright orange building in a largely residential area lined with 2- and 3-story homes. Inside, 4-seater tables, checkered cloths. Let's see, patrons can order from the rotating menu posted on a dry erase board on the wall, or try a mixed plate with rice, beans, salad, and meat, such as chicken or beef ribs. The restaurant charges $8.50 for a small serving and $12.75 for the large plate. On a recent weekday afternoon, the restaurant offered a mix of rice and beans with a choice of meat stew, steak and onions, beef ribs, Creole sauce, or baked pork ribs. So I think this is kind of neat. This was actually in a building that formerly had Domino's Pizza in it. It's a family-run business operated by Jeremias Florentino and his wife, his daughter, and his father. So I like seeing, restaurants like this bringing in flavors from other countries to here. We could always use more of that. There's a lot of great food out there. Let's see. This was a story, another Framingham story, and I do have a photo to go with this one too. This is from WCVB. DA, potato chip brouhaha leads to bowl assault in Framingham. An argument, and this is from WCVB, an argument over potato chips on Friday ended with the police arresting a Framingham man on Saturday after he said he assaulted another man with a ceramic bowl, the Metro West Daily News reported. Police arrested Harold Duar, 64, on Saturday at 5:50 a.m. at the South Middlesex Opportunity Council-owned shelter, charging him with the assault that occurred around 10:15 p.m. on Friday. Let's see. On Friday, another resident of the shelter asked Duar if Duar had opened the resident's potato chips. Duar began screaming at the man. This is an argument about potato chips, said Miller. He got angry about being questioned. He took a ceramic bowl and threw it. It hit the wall next to the victim and shattered. A shard of the bowl ricocheted off the wall and struck the man in the face, causing a bloody laceration to his face next to his eye, the prosecutor said. By the time police arrived, Duar was gone, but they returned and found him Saturday morning. Okay. So he was charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, the potato chip bowl, I guess. And he was held on $1,000 bail. He's got a long criminal record. So I guess if you live in the Middlesex Opportunity Council shelter, don't open other people's potato chips because you may get a bowl hurled at you. Let's see. Moving on. Framingham mayor announces a lawsuit against opioid drug distributors and manufacturers. This is from Framingham Source, and I'll read a little bit to you here. Mayor Yvonne M. Spicer announced today that the city of Framingham will file a lawsuit in Massachusetts State Court to hold opioid drug manufacturers and distributors accountable for the damages the city has suffered and will continue to suffer in dealing with the opioid epidemic. The defendant's conduct has imposed a direct, foreseeable, and substantial financial burden on the city of Framingham. So the city's agencies and personnel have devoted an increasingly large segment of its resources on public health, social and human services, law enforcement, police, fire, and first responders, and outreach initiatives designed to combat the crisis created by the defendant's unlawful conduct. In 2016, there were 213 opioid overdoses in Framingham, and 18 Framingham residents died, tripling the number from 2012. I think it's interesting that the city has taken this action. They retained the law firm of Scott & Scott as their special counsel in its litigation. I don't know. Their fees and expenses will only be paid if there's a successful recovery for the city, and the fees and expenses are limited to a percentage of the recovery, thus minimizing any direct financial cost on the city and taxpayers. So you're not really paying for this, I suppose, if you want to look at that way. So we're going to take a break so I can fix my graphics, and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. So enjoy this lovely arrangement of PSAs that I have.
Hey, what are we doing out of the bottle? This is dangerous. A little kid might come along and think we were candy. That would be awful because we're medicine. He might even eat us. No, 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 no. This is serious. Serious. We could make you delirious. Delirious. You should have a healthy fear of us. Fear of us. Too much of us is dangerous. No, no, no. Doctors tell the pharmacy. Pharmacy. Types of pills that you will need. You will need. And he knows the harm that we can be. We can be. If we're not taken carefully. Oh, oh. We're not candy, believe us. Even though we look so fine and dandy. When you're sick, we come in handy. But we're not candy. No, no.
Attention travelers, next Tuesday a major hurricane will cause complete chaos throughout the city. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency.
And we're back with a bug that doesn't get covered up by the Access Framingham bug. So we've got about 8 minutes left in the show here, so I'm just going to blow through some of the rest of the stories that I have here. It's actually not that many here. There's a letter to the editor that was published in the Framingham Source. I thought it was a little interesting. This was written by at-large City Councilor George King. Yesterday was a beautiful morning for a walk, and I was carefully crossing Route 9 at Prospect Street. I was again reminded the state has done nothing to improve safety since the latest tragedy. It's actually the Commonwealth, not the state. During just the couple of minutes I was waiting for the walk light, I saw a car attempt to take a U-turn as they headed eastbound, and watched a pedestrian cross in the middle of the traffic about 100 yards up the street, climbing the guardrail by Walgreens. Obviously, people's poor judgment can't be legislated. However, some of the basic fixes that I suggested after the last tragedy can be done to improve safety, yet nothing has happened. When the walk light is on, there's still a green light from the exit of the commercial buildings. There is no signage at the end that reminds drivers that it is illegal to turn on red during the walk cycle, introducing cars and pedestrians into the intersection simultaneously. At night, the lighting is terrible. Compare the lighting on the High Street ramp of Route 9 to the Prospect Street intersection. It is literally night and day at night. Increasing the walk cycle by just a few seconds would assure people clear the full intersection before traffic moves again. As someone active in government and on the city council, I find it frustrating to be able to have such little impact. I know the state needs time to redesign intersections, but quick and relatively inexpensive fixes must happen now. This is a state issue, and we need to make sure they act before another tragedy occurs. George King, Counselor at Large. So, let's see. The last story that I have. This is a good one. This is Framingham Natick centric, and I have a photo to go with it. Just give me a second here to pull it up. Let's see. Oh, do I not have it? Oh, here it is. So this guy here, according to the Metro West Daily News, District Attorney, Framingham man rubs woman's feet without consent at Natick Mall. Let's see. So, Smith Orge of Framingham, an employee at the virtual reality kiosk at the Natick Mall, is charged with indecent assault and battery after police said he rubbed a customer's feet in a sexual manner without her permission. I'm not going to leave him up there to embarrass him any more than he needs to be. Let's see. Natick, an employee at a virtual reality kiosk at the Natick Mall, claimed Saturday that rubbing and stroking a woman's feet was part of the virtual reality experience, but police said he was committing an indecent assault. Natick police arrested Smith Orge, 31 of Framingham, after the 6:15 p.m. incident, according to a police report filed in the Natick District Court on Monday. The woman told police that she and her boyfriend decided to try the virtual reality kiosk near the food court, but she immediately became suspicious of Orge after she put on her virtual reality glasses. She stated that Orge started touching her feet in a way that reminded her of someone with a foot fetish, police wrote in the report. She said Orge pulled her toes like she was trying to milk them, and she felt it was in a sexual manner, police wrote in the report. Orge then began rubbing his hands up her leg and at one point tried to move her purse, which she's had on her lap, to prevent people from looking up her skirt, according to the report. After the incident, the woman asked her boyfriend if Orge touched him, and he said no. Then they reported it to mall security. They looked for Orge, but he had left the kiosk area and found him in another part of the mall. Good hiding. When questioned, Orge claimed that he only patted the woman's leg and skirt because he was concerned that someone could see up her skirt. So he was hoping she would pull it down. He claimed that touching and tapping the feet was part of the overall virtual reality experience. Police wrote in the report. Orge could not answer why he only did it to the woman and not the man. So they arrested him, Orge, and charged him with indecent assault and battery on a person older than 14. And he posted a $2,500 bail after his arrest and surrendered his passport to the court on Monday. He said his client hopes to leave the U.S. in 2 weeks to go to his native Turkey, Judge Davis. So I guess he'll just leave. He was due back in court on June 18th. I don't know if anything came of that, but I guess it's a weird story. So I think I'm going to end on that note. This has been Focus on Framingham. I've been your host, Mike Cunningham. You can find us online at our website, focusonframingham.tv, which goes to our YouTube channel. So you can find past episodes, all 6 of them. And you can also reach us at... Oh, look at that. I got the bug on top of the graphic. Let's see. So we'll wrap it up. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.